Namaskar, ladies and gentlemen. We are so delighted to have you in Food of India series. Today on board we have Chef Vikas Singh. He'll be talking about a culinary voyage to Hyderabad and Telangana. Well, friends, Chef Vikas is an alumnus of IHM Bhubaneswar with over 22 years of experience, which includes rich industry experience and luxury brands like the Park, Hyatt, and Carnival Cruise Lines, Miami, Florida. He's having more than 16 years of academic experience in reputed institutions like Banarsi Das Chandiwala Institute of Hotel Management, affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, RIG Institute of Hotel Management, and he's currently working as program chair for BSc Hotel Management and associate professor at School of Hospitality, Galgottias University since 2015 till date. Friends, he has completed his master's in hotel management, MBA HRM, and is pursuing his doctoral program in hospitality. He has studied fellowship in Southern American cuisine at Chef John Fol's Culinary Institute. And he also did a reality cookery show named as Seedhe Rasoi Se. He has vast experience in creating recipes, preparation of elaborate meals, and organizing food festivals. Apart from his culinary journey, he is also a passionate academician and a researcher. He has published more than 22 research papers in various journals, national and international, and has attended more than 35 FDPs and workshops. He has also authored a book in food production named as Textbook of Food Production, Basic Training Kitchen. And he has also published a book on tourism and hospitality, perspectives, patterns, and practices. He is a lifetime member of prestigious Indian Culinary Forum, member of Chef Guild of India. He is a proud member of World Association of Chef Societies, member of Indian Federation of Culinary Associations, and member of World Chef Choice Federation. Wow. He has so many laurels to his credit. He has been a recipient of National Award winner of Academic Achievement Award in 2016, 2019, and 2020. His latest credit includes being a recipient of Global Hospitality and Leadership Award for Best Associate Professor Food Production in year 2020. Well, when we talk about Telangana and Hyderabad, I think Chef Vikas would be heading us to a very interesting voyage of this fascinating cuisine of Hyderabad and Telangana. The moment we talk about Hyderabad and Telangana, there are so many things that comes to my mind, and particularly in connect of Telangana, you see, mouth-watering dishes such as halim that makes us feel to tantalize our taste buds. Well, when you think about Hyderabad or Telangana, the various destinations such as divine destinations, heritage sports, wildlife, adventure journeys, urban forest parks, experiences, and whatnot that makes you feel that you must visit Telangana, an interesting and amazing state of India, offering different dimensions of life for people from all walks of life. Telangana promotes tourism and hospitality in an incredible way. Well, do you know Telangana is renowned for its delicious desserts and spicy cuisine? Hyderabad, which was once the capital for many dynasties, represents a unique blend of cuisines, beverages, दम की बिरयानी, कुबानी का मीठा, हैदराबादी स्पेशल बिरयानी, डबल का मीठा, Irani chai, sarva pindi are some of those which immediately hit my mind and make me feel that if I'm in Hyderabad or Telangana, I must relish. The hinterlands of Telangana offer a much more varied cuisine experience with local flavors and spices. and that is also influenced by Mughlai cuisine, Nawabi cuisine, and there is delicious Telangana pattu for everyone. Well, I'm really excited to be there on this food journey of Telangana and Hyderabad. So, from here, I mute myself and welcome Chef Vikas Singh on board on this culinary voyage to Telangana and Hyderabad. Over to Chef Vikas, muting myself and sharing the screen for presentation.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to show my gratitude to Dr. Bhaiya for the opportunity and for this wonderful forum and platform for all the budding professionals who want to become chef or want to join hospitality industry. And I will also like to welcome all the young minds who are here, who are listening to me. And definitely we will, relish and we will try to learn the all the ingredients and other specialty dishes. Already Dr. Bhaiya uh, has enlightened us with few of the names, and so we will do some in-depth in-depth knowledge. We will gain some in-depth knowledge, and I will try to share whatever experience and knowledge, little knowledge I have with all the young minds and budding professionals, right? So the food of India, cuisine of Hyderabad and Telangana. This is the topic that we are discussing today, and Telangana and was a part of Hyderabad before. So if we go to the next slide, and I will like to thank also Dr. Sandeep Malik, director, and of course Dr. Dhiya is there, who is the host and who has coordinating throughout with all the with me and other aspects of this show. So all the credit goes to Dr. Bhaiya as well. So the formation of Telangana, whenever we are discussing any cuisine, it's very important to know about the cultural heritage of the cuisine, how it was formed, the climatic conditions, the background, the religious background, and all those things are very important. So whenever we are starting a cuisine of a state or a region, first of all thing is we should understand the cultural heritage, how it was formed, right? Because that decides what is the menu, what is the cuisine, right? So formation of Telangana, the first slide if you see here, in 1956, the Hyderabad state was dissolved as part of the linguistic reorganization of state, and Telangana was merged with Andhra Pradesh. Later on, in June 2nd, 2014, Telangana again became a separate statehood, right? It has got its cultural heritage and a history, very, very rich cultural heritage Telangana is having. And it has separated, and now it is having, if you see the comparative study of now Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, there is quite a similarity as well as a difference in cuisine is also there. That also we will touch a bit of that. Of course, Telangana, Hyderabad is the capital of Telangana, and everybody knows the food of Hyderabad. It is world famous, right? Because of Hyderabad, each and every person relishes the dish, especially the biryanis, and there is more than biryanis, double ka meetha biryanis, a lot of dishes are there. But apart from these two dishes or three, four dishes that normally we know of, there are n number of dishes that we are going to learn today and also see how it is made, what are the special ingredients, right? All those things we will venture into. So we can go to the next slide. And if you see again a brief history about the Telangana, or you can say some of the facts about Telangana. It is a state in southern India, situated on the south central stretch of the Indian peninsula on the high Deccan plateau. Again, region, why we are going to the cuisine, if you see, we are going slowly and steadily from the cuisine, from the place where it is located, because where it is located, from there the ingredients we get, right? Now South India, we get a lot of coconut, sesame seed is being used, so those availability of ingredients influences the dishes that is being made. So it's very important to know the dish that we are discussing, it is from which part of the country that we are discussing. So it is a southern India, everybody knows. Capital, we know it is Hyderabad. There are 33 districts. Just a few geographical facts that we should know. Area, it's 12th. Literacy 72%. Official language Telugu, and Chief Minister is K. Chandrasekhar Rao. So that is a brief knowledge about Telangana, and then we can go to the next slide. Now again, the geographical location. Why we are emphasizing on geographical location again and again? Because the geographical location of a place decides the dish, right? Decides the cuisine of that place. That is the one of the very, very important factor. So Telangana is bordered by Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, and Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. So if you see the food of Telangana, there is an influence of the ingredients and the dishes of all the surrounding states. Also, you can find the influence in the dishes and the ingredients that is being used for making the dishes, right? And Telangana is situated in the Deccan Plateau, that already we have discussed, and two major rivers, Godavari and Krishna, is there, that also. And most of the area is arid, right? It's hot and dry climate is there. A lot of hilly areas are there, mountain. The terrain of Telangana region consists mostly of hills, right, and thick, dense forests. So this is the brief geographical location, how the place is, and accordingly the cuisine is going to evolve, right? Now the cuisine, if we come, so if we see, there are three parts of the cuisine, like it's a Telangana cuisine, and then we have a Nizami cuisine that reflects the Hyderabadi cuisine, because Nizams ruled Hyderabad, right? For in 18th century, Nizam ruled Hyderabad, and of course the Andhra Pradesh and other areas, Telangana, they ruled. And then we have a Telugu cuisine. So there are slight difference in the the ingredients and other factors of the dishes that is being made in this region. So if we come to the Telangana cuisine, so Telangana has been under the rule of, now if you see after the locality where it is located, we are coming to the rulers, because apart from the ingredients, who has ruled, who has lived in that particular place, that also defines the cuisine of that particular place, right? That is also very, very important factors. So we can see in many of the different states of India, the people who has lived there, like, and ruled there, that will, for example, Goa has got an influence of Portuguese. Awadh has got the, Abdi cuisine. The name is Abdi cuisine of the UV cuisine, that is ruled by the Mughals. Similarly, if you see Telangana, Hyderabad, the Nizams ruled here. So there is the influence of Nizami food as well. Apart from Nizami, there is a Persian, Turkish, other influence also you can see in the cuisine. So Telangana has been under the rule of the Asaf Jahis for centuries, therefore playing a major influence on the culture and the cuisine. 18th century, as I reiterate again, the British Raj was there, and Telangana was ruled by Nizam of Hyderabad in the 18th century. And that the Nizams, and when they came here, they brought again the food with them, the cuisine, the ingredients, all the things they brought along with them, right? Because they want to relish their food as well. Now, those foods has a great impact on the local cuisine as well. We will see in later part of the session. It was widely popular for its biryanis, Karachi biscuits, etc. Telangana, yeah. Telangana food uses ingredients such as, some of the major ingredient in most of the dishes, you will see a reflection, or you will see this ingredients that is being widely used, such as tamarinds, chisme seeds, red chili, right? And asafoetida are predominantly used in the cuisine. So tamarind generally is being used, or kokum. In few of the dishes, we also see kokum as a substitute for tamarind. But most of the places you will see tamarind is being used as one of the souring ingredients. Now, Nizami cuisine. Apart from Telangana, we have the Nizami cuisine. It is an amalgamation of Mughals, Turkish, and the Arabic, along with the influence of Telugu and Marathwada. So a lot of influence if you see in the Nizami cuisine. It comprises the staple diet is rice, meat, wheat, and herbs, right? And the curry and biryanis are highly seasoned and flavored by using rich spices, saffron, nuts, and dairy products. So this is the specialty of Nizami cuisine. If you see, it is little bit on the richer side. A lot of spices, saffron, other things are being used, right? And when we come to the Telugu cuisine, it is a common man cuisine, and millets made rotis have is being used. The food is not very spicy and hot as Andhra Pradesh. Generally, Andhra Pradesh is very, very spicy food, right? But the food is not very spicy in the Telugu cuisine. Local fish, morel is a local fish that is being consumed. And ingredients like tamarind, rock salt, black pepper, asafoetida are extensively being used in the Telugu cuisine. Now, as I have said before also, there is a difference between slight difference in the cuisine between Telangana and Andhra Pradesh cuisine, right? So that is very important for the students to learn, right? Generally, people say it's almost the same. Yeah, it's almost the same. There are similarities, but there is a difference as well. So, if you see, the cuisine of Telangana is less spicy, whereas Andhra Pradesh, the cuisine is a bit on the spicier side. Telangana cuisine has exotic food dishes because of the influence of the Nizam and the Hyderabad. They have more exotic foods compared to Andhra Pradesh, right? And Andhra Pradesh influenced from the Odisha, because being the Odisha being the border, it is influenced. The food is more influenced, and vice versa. If you see the Odisha cuisine also, it's a bit influenced from the Andhra cuisine, right? And there are some gunpowder like that is being used, made with lentils and chilies. A powder sort of thing is being made, and that is served as a, you can say, as a condiment or as an accompaniment with the other dishes. That is being done in Andhra Pradesh cuisine. But generally in Telangana cuisine, we don't see this gunpowder is not being used. Generally, less use of Guntur red chilies. Whereas in Andhra Pradesh, this is a special chilies, right? Guntur red chilies is a special chilies that is being used, that give some extra color to the dish and also make it a bit spicy. Mainly lamb and chicken is being used in Telangana, if you see, right? Whereas in Andhra Pradesh, fish and seafoods are being used. So that is one of the very, very basic and difference, because if you see Nizams, they don't generally take a lot of fish, but they take a lot of lamb and chicken in their preparation. They love that. So that reflects in the food of the Telangana cuisine, whereas Andhra Pradesh, they use a lot of fish and seafood, being a coastal area as well. Now the base is ready. We know the basics, how the cuisine is being made, right? The cultural influence, the rulers who have ruled there, the climatic conditions, where it is located, right? So now it is clear that now we will come to the local availabilities of the ingredients that is widely being used. So the first one, cooking and kitchen and food is all about colors, right? A lot of colors, pictures should be there, and it should be with examples. So if somebody asks, I always tell my students and everybody, if somebody asks you, name 5 ingredients that is used in Telangana, so you should be ready with the answer 5. If somebody says name 5 dishes, right, after the session, so that is the objective. After the session, you should be able to tell 5 dishes, desserts, some ingredients, the cooking method, what are the equipment being used, all those things you should be knowing after this session about the Telangana and the Hyderabadi cuisine. Then there will be the success of this whole session, and a lot of efforts that Dr. Dahiya and the whole team is taking, right? So the ingredients that we have is the Kabuli chana, jisko hum bolte hain, but they call it Kabuli singalu. That is chickpeas. That is being widely used in many of the dishes. Now, if you see the rice is parboiled rice, right? The same rice is being used in the east also, in the northeast also, in many of the places if you see, and it is more healthy. They are calling it upadu biyam, more healthy parboiled rice, we are also calling it a sela rice, right? Parboiled rice, because with the husk, the rice is being steamed, and that retains the ingredients, the nutrients, the protein in the rice. So it is a healthier version. So whenever you're having it, but generally the North Indians, like in uh, UP and other places, generally they don't consume this parboiled rice. They like to have a basmati rice. All right. And then we have cowpeas, bobarlu. So the local name also you should remember. Cowpeas we know it is the black-eyed beans, right? And we know different names, but the local name, that is bobarlu, that is very important. And also we call it as lobia in the Delhi region, and the northern region we call it the as lobia. That is also being used. So many of the ingredients are similar, that is being used in northern and eastern part, but it is also being called by different names, right? Then there is agathi leaves, that is being used as a herb, as a medicinal property. It is also known as a hummingbird tree, right? It's a small leaves are there, so it is known as a hummingbird leaves, right? Then we have sorrel leaves, and this sorrel leaves resemble like spinach, but they are not spinach, right? Chukka pura, that is known as, and it is a little bit on the on a sour taste. Huh? They like sour taste. In if you see the south region, the Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, all these places, the south, they like a little bit of soury flavor in their food. So these leaves combine very well with the spices used in the cuisine, and this is known as a sorrel leaves. We will see some of the dishes also that is being prepared. Then we have chikadu or field beans. So chikadu or field beans is very similar to the flat beans that we are using in northern India, and we call it as same also many places we are calling it. So this field beans is very similar to, of course, the same variety, not exactly the same. So it is used for making of stews or for making of vegetables and different mixed vegetable. Also, they are using this chikadu in various dishes. Then we have this banana rhizome, right? That is the root part of the banana is being used, and then you can slice it. You can make into chips and other things. Even curries can be, it can be made into curries. So banana rhizome, ati dumpa. Then gongura leaves of the same family, very similar to the sorrel leaves that we have, but a bit difference is there, and not exactly the same, but of the same family, the sorrel, but it is much more sour in taste than the regular sorrel leaves. It is more sour in taste, right? Then we have water amaranth, or punaganti kura. Again, it is one of the greens that is being used. So if you see, a lot of greens are there, that makes the food of Telangana very, very healthy and very delicious, because of the special sourness that the leaves are providing, and very nutritious as well, right? And water amaranth, these are variety of amaranth leaves known as in gudri sag in north. Sometimes we also use and we call it as a gudri sag in Hindi. It is a rich source of vitamins and minerals, and often used as medicines. Water amaranth or punaganti kura, right? And then we have tapaika, that already we are using for making of chips and other things. Yam elephant dumpa, that is again you can make it as a stew, vegetable stew, or slice and make into a chips, that can be used there. And then we have cassia flowers. These are colorful yellow flowers of the cinnamon tree, right? And very, very rare. I have not seen many places that is this cassia flower. Cassia is the cinnamon. Actually, cassia and cinnamon are two different varieties. The India, we are using it as cinnamon, or dalchini, we are calling it dalchini. So that version is cassia, the thicker version. And there is another version of it that is cinnamon. So India, we are using cassia, right? And very, very nutritive again. And then spine goat akakara, that is, it looks like spine goat, and karela, it looks like karela, somewhat like that, but it is different, and the name is akakara. So all these difficult names, that will need to learn, and that will give value and add value to our knowledge, right? It takes some efforts to remember the typical names and difficult names for us. Spine gourd is also known as kankoda, and many other names such as they're also known as mitha karela, right? And then we have this known as cluster beans. All we know cluster beans. Then now this Sara Pappu, that is basically a nut that is known as chironji. We are adding in malpuas and other things. We are adding this. So they are also adding this chudapa seeds for various types of curries. For making, they're making a paste of this, and they're adding to the various types of gravies as well, right? So this is, and of course in the desert also it can be as a chironji. And then we have betel roots, pan ki jad. So this herbs, if you see this herbs, betel roots, vetiver roots, stone flower, all this is the influence of the nizams. And the same ingredient, the same, these three herbs you will see in the Mughlai cuisine as well, because of the Mughals influence there, right? And these are used for making of kebabs. If you're making a galoti kebab or another types of kebabs, so this pan ki jad, khas ki jad, vetiver roots, patthar ke phool, stone flower, right? These are all crushed together and formed into powders. Now this Marathi maggu, now this is a very very special we can call a spice that is generally not used in other parts of the, like northern India or eastern, we are not using. But generally this is used in also in Chettinad cuisine of Tamil Nadu. We see the influence of this Marathi maggu, kalpasi, anasipo, Marathi maggu. These three spices that is used in also in Chettinad cuisine. You will see the same spice Marathi maggu is used in the for making of curries and various other things here. And then we have a lot of ingredients. Cinnamon camphor, right? This is obtained from the camphor tree. The leaves, if you just crush the leaves, you will get the flavor of the fragrance of the camphor. And this is for meant for generally for religious ceremonies, right? And there are different types of camphor, but the edible ones needs to be consumed. There can be other version that generally it is not being consumed. So there are different varieties of this cinnamon camphor. So one should be very very cautious when you are taking this camphor for medicinal purpose or otherwise for cooking, right? Then we have regu pandu. These are small you can say like jujubes or berries sort of things, and that is used for it is generally crushed with jaggery and tamarind and used in curries. That gives the sourness to the dish, right? So that is there. And then we have chinta chigaru, that is tamarind leaves. So for all the curries, many times they are adding this that gives again the sourness to the dish. Chinta chigaru, beautiful names. All these names, right? This catchy names. You should. I think that gives the and we should try to learn this, like kulfa or porcelain leaves. It's small, smooth. It's a fleshy annual herbs, right? And in many places, even in Uttarakhand, many of the dishes you will see like its medicinal properties are also there in kulfa. And in Hyderabadi cuisine also we are using this. So the ingredients are ready. Now we will come step by step. And now we will come to the equipment. What are the special equipments, right? So the first one, if you see, this is a clay pot, right? Or a chippa. We call it chippa or clay pot. So generally, if we are making a casserole or so generally we put the meat and other ingredients, and we are just baking it or cooking it. So the whole casserole is being served in front of the guest, and the food is being cooked in this clay casserole. That gives the that flavor, flavor to the food. And also we have a tathi, that is like a barbecue thing, right? Barbecue, small barbecue tathi. It is a metal used for, it is a barbecue griller, right? And then we have tirangali, that is used for grinding of the rice, right? If you are making a batter for the different, they are making different batters using rice batter. So this tirangali is used for that batter. And then we have kavam. It is a churner basically for churning of buttermilk. And then we have ponganalu. So for making of appams or other preparations, if we see, this is a ponga nalu. Then we have potram, or it is also known as rolu. It is generally made with cast iron, used for making various pastes, or for breakfast we are using this for making pounding of various spices and other things. We can use this rolu or patram. In English, generally we call this at mortar pestle or imam dista mortar pestle. So here we are calling it a rolu. And then we have one that dish, that is jadilu. Jadilu is small pickle we used to have in our house also in North India, right? For storing of the pickles and other things, we are using this. So the name here is jadilu, that you should remember. Right. Now we will come to the ingredients. So as we know, the staple food that is there is bajra or millets being consumed in Telangana generally. A lot of bajra is used, or millets, it is known as millets or bajra, for making of rustic breads, wholesome rustic breads. And then we have rice is the, lot of dishes includes rice as one of the major ingredients that they're having. And non-veg lamb and chicken is being used, but sometimes fish is also consumed. So the local fish, as we have discussed earlier, that in Andhra cuisine, but of course you can also see a touch in the Telangana cuisine, that local fish known as muril is being used. Then they have different spices, right? So and powders that they are making. So spices that they generally use, we have also seen that before in the pictures, that what are the special spices that they are using. Apart from that, they are using black peppers, cumin, onion seeds, fennel seeds, mustard, because when they're giving bagar or tadka, right? So they're using all these ingredients, fennel, onion seeds, that is kalonji. Onion seed is the Hindi term. So it's very important to learn the Hindi term as well, right? We need to promote the Indian version of this. Like, what is the name? Sometimes we know the name that it is fennel seed, but generally we sometimes don't know that it is also known as Saunf. We know onion seed, but we don't know it is known as kalonji. So that Indian name should be, we should know all the Indian names. Mustard seeds, coriander seeds, stone powder, all this stone flour that we know, patthar ke phool, that is used for kebabs. Then masalas and powders. They have some special masalas and powder. Bojawar masalas or potli ka masala, garam masala of course, and chicken masala that we use for chicken. So this bojawar and potli ka masala, like in all the potli means in a cloth, they just put all the spices and put it into the gravy. Later on, it's easy to take it off, right? Otherwise, it becomes a very, very strong flavor you will get, but when you will bite on the spice, right? So these are some of the masalas. Now, how to make this? What are the ingredients in potli ka masala or bojawar masala, right? So coriander seeds, sandalwood powder, hardly we use, right? Generally, but again in Avdi cuisine you will see this sandalwood. So quite a similarity if you see in Avdi cuisine and Hyderabadi cuisine. You will see some of the spices are very, very similar. Vetiver roots, bay leaf, rose petals, black cardamom, cassia buds, kulanjan, kapur, kachari. So all these ingredients are tied in a muslin cloth. Yeah, sachet. Now in French we call it sachet d'apis. Like in the French cuisine also we are adding this sometimes, and not this spices but different. But the process is almost the same. We tie in a cloth and then we put in the stews or the soups. Later on we can, when the flavor has been extracted, we can take it out, right? And then bojawar masala, coriander seed, bay leaf. It's almost like a garam masala, but of course there is some special ingredients like copra. Copra is the dry coconut that is being added, and then we have groundnut that is being added, stone flour, putane ki dal. So all these extra ingredients are there, and that makes a masala that can be added into various types of. Now we will come to the dishes, that will make that will make it a little bit more interesting, I suppose, because the dishes, you can reach a person's heart through the stomach, it says. So that is very important. So sarva pindi attu, that is the savory pancakes. and made with rice flour. We know rice is a staple food, right? So rice flour and peanuts. It is cooked in a copper utensil with butter, and then a pancakes, thin pancakes. If you see on the top, a thin pancakes are there. Sarva pindi attu, that is made with rice flour, and then we have polelu, ultra thin flattened Indian bread. Of course, it is a sweetened. The stuffing is sweetened like puran poli. If you remember in Maharashtra cuisine, there is puran poli, and in the beginning I have said there we will see some influence of the surrounding states that is there. So jaggery, chana dal, cardamom, and ghee. So a stuffing is made, and of course you can add little bit of coconut. It's not given there, so that can be a chef secret sometimes to make the dish more appetizing. So you can add little bit of coconut, grated coconut. You make a stuffing, and then you put in the pancakes, thin pancakes made with flour, refined flour, and then you can just grill it on the hot plate, and that is how a palelu can be made. Then this pachi pulusu is a rasam made with tamarind and onions, a thin rasam. So generally it is a starter, you can say, like during the meal, rasam is always being served on the table. It is there almost every time, right? So it is one of the starter, you can say it is a starter also that enhances your appetite, and it is a digestive in nature as well, right? So rasam has got it is being served. Punti kura chana dal made by broiling. Now the sorrel leaves come. We have seen a leaf that is very similar to the spinach, right? So it is cooked. The tuar dal is cooked, and you can see a dish that is punti kura chana dal and tuar dal, and sometimes chana dal is also mixed together. It's your choice. So we always say that recipe is just a guideline, right, to make a dish. There will be variation. Every 10 kilometers, the food changes, the cuisine changes, the taste changes, the ingredient changes, right? So there will be here and there. So we cannot be adamant ki we have to put this. Of course, the base has to be there, but there can be variations in the recipe. It's a guideline to make a dish, right? Jona roti is a flat bread made by jowar, and upudi pindi is a breakfast aimer, very similar to the upma. I will go a bit fast because lot many dishes are there. So I hope I'm not going very fast. Kodi kura, it's a spicy hot chicken curry in red color made from Guntur chilies. And already we have discussed that Guntur chilies are very it's a chili that is being used that gives extra color and little bit spiciness to the food. Dalcha, a traditional Hyderabadi stew made with mutton, of course. And if you see one thing, there is a tradition of cooking meat with lentils, right? So many, like halim. Dr. Ashish Dahiya said halim was there previous, in the introduction he said. So there is many dishes that you will see that meat is being cooked with a lot of lentils, and that makes the dish wholesome dish, right? And you can just consume it. Many of the dishes are being consumed in Ramadan also. That is the festival, right? And yeah, so next we can, halim. So I was just talking about halim. It's a stew made with wheat, barley, and meat and some lentils. And generally it is cooked very slowly, slow cooking, and it is pounded also. So you will see it's a wholesome food, and it can be consumed as a, you don't require anything else, just a halim and some rumali rotis or bakar gani or sheermal. You can take some sheermal and the meal is ready. Protein, carbohydrates, and vegetables are also there. So all the three, when you compose a meal, what we see: protein, carbohydrates, and vegetables, right? These three, of course, fat is already there. So the three macronutrients is there, and micronutrients also you get. So it's scientific. Cooking is very scientific. We always say it is art and science, right? Art and science, that makes a complete chef. So gongura ghost, it is a mutton curry with gongura leaves and potatoes. So gongura leaves we have seen in the earlier slides. So it's a stew that is made, with Gongura Ghost, and then we have Sakinalu. And Sakinalu is known by different names. So it is basically fried rice, paste that is being shaped, and it comes by different names in different places. Then there is a mutton soup, Hyderabadi marag, or a mutton soup that is being prepared. It looks very appetizing, mutton soup. Curly, spicy chicken keema balls dipped in gram flour batter and deep fried. Then paya, the bone soup. So a lot of soups you can see. Magaz masala, goat brains and deep fried delicacy. So goat brains are delicacy in the Hyderabadi cuisine. If you see, Hyderabadi nihari, it's a breakfast item dish made from goat's feet and tongue. So nihari is a beautiful dish, and generally in the breakfast it is being consumed. Some of the specialty dishes. Now, if we come to the Hyderabadi biryani, right, that is the specialty that is world famous, and that makes Hyderabad, famous all around the world. All people know Hyderabad mostly because of the biryanis, and there are two versions of the biryanis, right? One is kachi biryani, and another is pakki biryani. Now the question arises that what is the difference between the kachi biryani and the pakki biryani? So what is there is kachi biryani is marinated meat, raw meat that is cooked with the rice. So the first layer in the pan will be the marinated with yogurt, spices, and other thing. First layer in the pan with ghee will be your meat, marinated meat or chicken, right? And then rice half cooked, first layer. Then you will put some onions and other thing layer. Second layer half cooked, 3/4 cooked. So what we are doing is now the steam from the mutton, the flavor from the mutton will infuse in each and every grain of the rice when it is cooked for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours on very, very slow dum cooking method, right? You know what is dum cooking? When the heat is coming from the top with the charcoal and the heat is from below, and the whole pan is sealed with wheat atta, right? So that seals and the flavors are intact in the pan. They don't lose any flavor. So that is the specialty of Hyderabadi biryani and kachi biryani. My favorite is kachi biryani. Generally, I don't. And in pakki biryani, what is happening? We are preparing curry with the chicken or mutton, and then we are layering it rice, chicken, and then we are putting into the dum. So that is the difference between the kachi biryani and the pakki biryani. Now we have Nargisi kofta. This is again very, very famous dish that is there, Nargisi kofta. And the name Nargisi kofta is from the Narcissus kofta, named after the flowers, white and yellow petals. So when you will cut the Nargisi kofta, it's like inside the egg is there, right? So boiled egg, and outside the meat, so inside it's yellow, then the white layer is there, then the brown layer is there, then a velvety textured, the gravy is there, that is made with cashew nuts and muggas and all those things, and it has a Persian influence and the Mughal influence in the. So it's very interesting when you go deep inside the dish, you will find history and everything is there, right? That makes the dish even more interesting when you are having the dish, and then you're relishing even the journey in hundreds of years of journey along with the dish. And then we have Sikkim puri kebab. Sikkim puri kebab, basically it's mutton mince, and then with some lentils it's pounded and it is made into a mince, and then it is grilled. So that is a Sikkim puri kebab. Double ka meetha. Now double ka meetha and very similar, not exactly similar. We have Sahi Tukda in Avdi cuisine, right? But people, students generally they get confused. Both are similar or different, or what is it, right? Now, if you see the name double ka meetha, why the name is given? What is double here? Double has been derived from the word double roti. Bread, other term for bread is double roti. In India, we call it double roti because the sponginess, it rises in double in sizes, right? So from that word, it comes double, and it is sweet. So what is the difference if somebody asks you what is the difference between double ka meetha and Sahi Tukda? So the first you can always say, because this question generally it is being asked in many places. The moment you say double ka meetha, then the next question will be, what is the similarity or what is the difference between Sahi Tukda? So Sahi Tukda is a Avdi cuisine dish, and it is more richer version. In double ka meetha, the bread is fried and it is cooked with the syrup, and later on we are adding milk or rabdi into, and it goes in the oven, right? Whereas Sahi Tukra is layered with sugar syrup and rabdi, and then it is being served, right? So that can be a different. Then we have Karji Kai. Karji Kai is again like gujiyas that we have, right? Sweet dish, gujiyas that we are having. So other term is they call it like Karji Kai in Telangana cuisine, very similar to that. Gile Firdos. Now, Gile Firdos is one of the dish when as a student we used to relish it, and in the practical lab we were taught when we were learning the Hyderabadi cuisine. And it's one of the beautiful dish. It's made with bottle gourd, son, and it is grated, and then it's cooked with this, milk, and of course nuts are there. So very dish. And in North India also, many few places they are having this dish. They are cooking this. But again, if you add little bit of coconut into Gile Firdos, that enhances the flavor much more, right? Without coconut. So now R&D can be done. Previously it was thought that kitchen and hospitality people are not into R&D, and but no research is there. But I have seen lot many research are being done, lot many dishes are being created by the young students who are watching this show. Like they are creating, their young minds, they have got so much of ideas, they can create n number of dishes. So a lot of R&D can be done in dishes by by combining with different ingredients and creating a new dish. Then we have Hyderabadi kebabs, right? And when we talk about kebabs, we should always talk about the tenderizers. So what are the tenderizers that is being used? So one of the very, everybody must be knowing about the raw papaya. Raw papaya is a great tenderizer. So if you're cooking a mutton dish, try to add some raw papaya, it will melt in your mouth, right? And just a minute, I will just... Apart from that, if you are you want to melt it even further, then of course you can add some pineapple juice. Pineapple juice is a much more greater tenderizer compared to raw papaya. So if you are cutting you're peeling a pineapple and you're not wearing gloves, then even it can cut your hand. There will be blood, right? So it has got bromelain, the enzyme that is present in pineapple, bromelain, that acts as a tenderizer. All right, and papaya we have papain that is there, that acts as a tenderizer. So cooking is science plus art, I'll always say. So we have to go into the scientific thing. What is the enzymes? It's not just cooking, coming on the range and cooking a dish. As a chef, you should know what is inside, why the reaction is. It's a chemical process. Cooking is a chemical process, that is irreversible chemical process, right? So as a chef, it's very important we should understand what is going on. Then the smoked raitas are there, that is available. Now smoked, how we are doing this smoking process, right? Generally it is being done with charcoal, right? Charcoal is being put and with some ghee on the top, with some spices, and it is put on the raita and it is covered, right? So that gives a smoky flavor to the raita. Yes. Then patthar ka gosht. So patthar ka gosht, we should not get confused that it is not something made from patthar, but there are two versions why the name is there, right? There are two versions to it, why we are getting this name. The first version is that I will just yeah. So first version is that we are adding some, we have seen a spice that is patthar ke phool, that is being added into this. That's why the name is patthar ka gosht, because we are adding a spice That is name is patthar. Second is sometimes it is also cooked on a hot stone. On that it is being cooked. That's why the name is patthar ke gosht. Right. Then bagara bagan. Again, it is a Hyderabadi dish. We will see it again in the next slide. Bagara bagan. That is a fried bagans aubergine that is cooked with some sesame seeds and other things, peanuts, coconut, onion. It is a gravy is being made and it is cooked with that, right? So snacks again, some keema samosa that is very famous. Generally, we are used to this aloo samosa, right? But in south, we have some keema samosa with some green peas, and that is really very delicious in taste. So a flaky pastry on the top, and we have some keema samosa. Then galawat ke kebab. Galawat ke kebab, like you get the tunde kebab in the Avdi cuisine, that very similar. Huh? So galawat means it will melt in your mouth because of the tenderizers and the way the mince is being made, right? And then karjikai, we already seen the fried chicken with the local spices. It is being fried. Yes, sir. Then the famous sweets, some more sweets to it. A lot of sweet dishes are there in Hyderabad. Huh? So one is the Kubani ka mitha, the apricots. So I worked in Hyderabad and in Visakhapatnam. I started my career from there only. So a lot of sweet dishes. I was surprised to see so many sweet dishes in South that we are having. So Kubani is one of the delicacies and one of the things that we don't get generally elsewhere. So that is the Kubani, that is apricot that is cooked with sugar syrup and honey. It is stewed basically apricots, and the name is Kubani ka mitha. And then we have seer korma. Seer korma is very similar to the kheer that we are having. It's rice that is cooked with milk, and that is with lot of nuts and then badam jali. Badam jali is a cashew nut and badam that is made into a paste, and it is cooked like candy or that we have sweets here. That is the badam jali. Now we will come into the Hyderabadi cuisine a bit deep. Again, we will go. So it has got a 400 years of history and evolved in the kitchens of Nizam, highly influenced by Iranian foods. And the food was called as Gizayat. And the cooks who used to cook the food was known as Khansamas. And Sahi Dastar Khan, or dining hall, that was known as a Dastar Khan, where they were having the food. So Hyderabad cuisine is an amalgamation of Mughal, Turkish and Arabic, along with the influence of the native Telugu and Marathwada cuisine. Hyderabadi cuisine comprises of a broad repertoire of rice, wheat, meat dishes. You will not see much of the fish dishes here, but a lot of meat, especially not chicken also is less, but more of meat you will see in the dishes, and various spices and herbs, of course, are being used. So then we have Halim. We have already discussed earlier Hyderabadi Halim. That Halim is a rich mutton stew, and it is cooked with lentils and spices. And already we have discussed, and it can be served with some breads like taftan, or with some bakar ghani or some sirmal, right? And it is a complete meal in itself. That is, meat is being cooked with some broken wheats and lentils, right? So, and then we have mirchika salan, that is green chili. Salan gravy is a specialized gravy. Like in the northern version, if we see, we have brown gravy, we have haryali gravy, we have korma gravy, we have makhani gravy. Like, so this is a regional gravy that we have. That is a salan gravy. And how we are making it? We have peanuts inside, we have onions, we had copra, we have sesame seeds. So we broil everything, broil on a hot plate, everything, and then we pound it. And of course, we have some chilies. So it is stir-fried chilies, or we can shallow fry, or just grill the chilies a bit, and then we add into the gravy. Of course, for sourness, we are adding some tamarind inside. So mirchi ka salan. Then we have bagara bagan, very similar to mirchi ka salan. The gravy is almost very similar to that, but only thing is we are adding some fried bagans into this, and that is the bagara bagan. with some bagar, of course, of the kalonji, some sonf, and other bagar is being given to that. That is why the name is Bagara Bagan. Bagara means tadka. And then we have Hyderabadi Gosht Biryani. So that also we have discussed. Hyderabadi Gosht Biryani. That is made kachi and pakki. We have seen both the Gosht Biryani. Hyderabadi lamb korma. So korma again is a gravy that is made with cashew nut paste, charmagas paste that is being added. A rich gravy that is a korma gravy, korma gravy. Chappa pulusu. So it is a fish dish basically. Chappa pulusu is one of the famous dish in Hyderabad. So very rare sometimes, but chappa pulusu is a fish preparations. It's marinated in turmeric, salt, lemon juice, and then it is stewed with the in the gravy with some coconut, of course. So that is a chappa pulusu. Shiranam. Shiranam is again a preparation of rice and milk. Shiranam, we call it. Then we have Majija Pulusu, that is like almost like a sambar, you can say, but made with buttermilk. Gile Firdos, already we have discussed, that is made with bottle gourd. Kubani ka mitha, again we have discussed. So Telangana and Hyderabad is a part of Telangana, it's a capital. So we'll see in totality, you will see here and there the same dish that is reflecting in Hyderabad. You can see in other parts of the state as well, right? Then we have Murg Nizami, Halim. We have Dalcha. Again, if you see one of the dish that is having a lot of meat and vegetables, it is made with dal and meat together. It is stewed and cooked together. Patthar ke kebab we have already seen. Then last but not the least, like the Dr. Ashish Dahiya has already said in the beginning introduction that Telangana and Hyderabad is famous for the Irani cafe. So I have just small picture. You can see how does it Irani cafe looks like, and you can see in Mumbai also in many of the places you will see this Irani cafe so there is the glimpse, or you can see the reflection. This Irani style cafe in South Asia, mainly in Hyderabad, it is there. It is open for Zoroastrian Irani migrants. Hyderabad boasts the largest number of Irani cafes. It is famous for its tea made from pure milk, tea leaves, and mawa. Okay. So thank you so much for this. There was a question in the question box that Kubani ka mitha, it is rich in taste. Please elaborate it more in question answer session, sir. So Kubani ka mitha is apricots. Basically, it's stewed apricots, stewed in sugar syrup and honey. So the apricots are stewed, right? And in the sugar syrup, dried apricots, of course, and stewed in honey and garnished with freshly whipped cream. Sometimes it garnished with freshly whipped cream, and it is being served. We are talking about gravies. One asks, should we actually consume gravies? What happens generally? People avoid restaurant gravies and consume happily the homemade gravies. Okay, why we have to? Okay, I'm not able to get the actual question. So restaurant gravy and homemade gravy, if you want to relish as a hotelier, if you can make the same gravies at home, it's well and good. Otherwise, sometimes some specialized gravy, because that flavor, sometimes the restaurant flavor is because of the heat. The high flame heat is there, the burner that we don't have in home. So sometimes that flavor also comes by the intensity of heat that is being supplied. So that depends. The texture and the taste sometimes is not very similar. So sometimes if you can relish, it's okay, no problem, because they are specialized chefs and cooks. But if you can make in home, then it's no issues. You can make it home. Sir,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chef. It has been truly an incredible journey when we talked about cuisine of Hyderabad. And believe me, the way you have elaborated, it has mesmerized us. How amazingly you covered different aspects of Hyderabad, since 1956, how the Hyderabad state was dissolved as a part of linguistic reorganization of the state, and Telangana as a separate statehood in 2014 with 33 districts having the 12th area rank in terms of area and population in India, highlighting the salient features of the state, its geographical location, the influence of the rivers, and how amazingly distributing the cuisine, Telangana cuisine, the Nizami and Telugu cuisine. Then the influence of British Raj, Nizam of Hyderabad, and how biryanis, Karachi biscuits, and different ingredients. You further elaborated upon the influence of Mughals, Turks, and Arabs with influence of Telugu and Marathwada on the cuisine of Hyderabad and Telangana. Interestingly, the points which we touched upon about the millet rotis, the food and the spicy character and its similarities and differences with Andhra Pradesh cuisine, the use of local ingredients has indeed enlightened our minds, and particularly the local ingredients, their names, and their uses in terms of chickpeas, parboiled rice, peas, then field beans, interestingly, water amaranth, tapioca, yam elephant, then spine gourd, cluster beans have indeed benefited us. I think the candidates would have certainly enjoyed and must have felt that they have heard about vetiver water, which is usually used as a cosmetic product, but then using of vetiver roots in connect to the food, how it is being interestingly used. Then going with cinnamon camphor, tamarind leaves, and different equipments, how they are being utilized, their purposes, benefits, going to the staple food, the different spices, masalas, powders, and how elaboratively you shared about Potlika masala. And when you talked about different dishes, the feeling of a virtual feast was there amongst us, and we were feeling that we must visit Telangana as soon as possible. Dalcha, kodikura, halim, gongura gosht, then paya, magaj masala, Hyderabadi nihari, and how the biryani and the elaborate aspect of Nargisi kofta was something amazing. Well, we also learnt about double ka meetha and its similarity and differences between double ka meetha and shahi tukda. I was seeing that in between there were pop-ups coming, and the learners were keen to know about Gile Firdos, smoked raita, and the way you shared about Patthar ke Gosht, that is mouth-watering indeed. And people in North India, where we relish samosas as vegetarian delights and tea time snacks, we also highlighted about keema samosa from the cuisine of Hyderabad and Telangana. Well, the insights to Galawat kebab, badam jali, and another mouth-watering dessert, Kubani ka meetha and sheer korma, indeed made us feel that we must visit and relish the cuisine of Telangana. Then sharing the aspects of Hyderabadi cuisine, having a history of 400 years, evolved in the kitchen of Nizams, and how the different dishes and ingredients makes it distinctive and popular is truly incredible. The use of green chilies, the use of different ingredients in salan, how a bagara bangan dish is different from other brinjal dishes is something incredible about this cuisine. Then you also shared about pongali, patthar ke kebab, halim, and other delicacies. Finally, covering with Irani Cafe was something incredible in today's session. I'm sure that the participants and the learners who are there and that audience who would be watching us will have wonderful insights from cuisine of Hyderabad and Telangana. Well, I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to you for joining us as a distinguished speaker in this series of Food of India covering cuisine of Hyderabad and Telangana. Well, I'm delighted to share that the participants hailing across the states of India are greatly enthused with your session. Your valuable insights to cuisines of Hyderabad and Telangana has indeed helped the learners in their journey of learning food of India. We are hopeful that you will continue with your benign support in future endeavors too. With these few words, I am humbled and express my gratitude to you for being on board on this virtual platform of our university. Thank you so very much, Chef, and we look forward for another interesting journeys of food in times to come, which would be indeed benefiting the learners from India as well as different parts of the world who are keen to know about Indian food and the delicacies from India. Well, with these few